Watching the Sensesphere channel, and now some chilled discussion after the week's angst, with the Doctor Who Detox Hour, or two. Maybe one week I shouldn't refer to them. There was kookaburras, but we'll find which week that's going to be. Well, good to see. I should say hello to Peter Harrington, who's holding the fort there. Good to see you, my Doctor Who twin. Welcome to the Detox. It's Friday. It's some ungodly how it feels. It, I have to say. Do I look rough? Yeah. It must be detox time. Time for our weekly Whovian therapy session when we calmly, gently lance those Doctor Who boils. Ooh. And set up for an enjoyable, chilled Doctor Who weekend. Let's hope so. What did Robbie Burns say about best laid plans? We aim to make it a jovial detox. We do. You can assess us at the end, but be kind about it. In the meantime, if I just remind us, please, in this festive season of giving, are you in the mood to give us a like or even a subscription if you haven't already yet? Or am I on some sort of galactic YouTube probation? You know, you're hard taskmasters. You like, I thought kids were bad at school. My God, it's hard. Yeah. Well, hopefully on the Sensesphere, you will find a home for your Whovian senses. We like a laugh. We like nostalgia. We will have criticism. We do like to debate, but we're always respectful. And to be honest, let's have perspective. There's more in life as well, too. And so we like to kind of remind everybody of that, including ourselves, when we take everything too seriously. I've had some lovely messages this week from people I've not heard from before and all the rest of it. So X does work. And obviously Gmail, sensesphere@gmail.com. Before you know it, you'll find you're on. Only a week ago, Brian talked to me. We had a good chat. Before you know it, he's on the Sunday show. It happens so fast. So please reach out. It'd be lovely to hear from you. So I think this is my first little task of the day, which is how do I get people on after a year of this? My God. So hello. Good to see you, Dan.
G'day, Brendan. How you going? So, what a week. It's good to be here.
Well, I was going to say, where do you start sometimes? It's been a busy Doctor Who week. I feel as though I'm meeting myself backwards here. But yes, it's there's a lot to talk about. That's good, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I'm here to catch up on things, I think. So,
this is when
it seems...
Sorry, this is when the therapy turns into a detox a bit faster than normal because people are going, really? And then I'm thinking, I'm firing people up. I'm getting them, you're going. Sorry, I'm supposed to be calming you down for the weekend, Dan.
Yeah, well, we'll take it in our stride. How about that? We'll have some fun.
Well, we're going to have ups and downs of the time rotor week in a minute, but one up already is one of our detoxers. You know, he's been busy doing other things. He's had a rough old time, and let's just see if I can get him on because you know his technology. You know what it's like. Let's just try him. Is he there, Doug? Are you there? Oh, that looked painful.
That screen still gets me. It's not me, by the way. It's not me, by the way. Apologies for the dark glasses. I'm not hungover, as you know. I've just had eye surgery, and it's not very pretty under here. But it's very good to be on, and I'm getting ready to be detoxed. So hopefully, it's going to be a good show.
Detox. Well, I think you're holding the look well, and you're doing the John Lennon, doing the John Lennon.
It's just not pretty under here, honestly. But thank you.
No, well, good to see you, and thank you for coming on. I mean, bad back and all. I mean, yeah. I mean,
I'm getting old. Not only have I just had eye surgery, I have an old back injury that flared up earlier in the week. So I've been walking around like a 90-year-old man. So, like I said to you off air, I'm dosed up on painkillers. So if I say something silly or burst into song for no good reason, please forgive me and don't cancel me.
I've got every contingency plan now. If you do that, I'll do this. There you
go.
Perfect.
Thank you.
I'm Merry White House proof.
Perfect.
Do you know what? Before we start this detox big time, what brought us to Doctor Who? What brings us to kind of television of the past? And what I truly want for my Christmas is a sense of wonder again, a sense of discovery. And to me, when I saw this photograph again from the Doctor Who Daleks movie, I just thought the color and the splendor and the kind of sense that as you step out of that TARDIS door, whoa,
it's beautiful, isn't it?
It is actually, and that's what I want back.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm really jealous of people when they say they're just discovering, Who, like new Who or classic Who or whatever. Like I just remember those years of just catching up on or delving into things for the first time. So
yeah,
it's a great time when you're hungrily going through everything for the first time.
Yeah, we have to be the timey-wimey. So just before I proceed any further, Divine and Dragon, good to see you. Peter Harrington, I've mentioned. He was first off the blocks. Graham Dawson, he's already ordered his Steelbook from Amazon. We'll be talking about the Savages today. The Peter Venkman fan sites, greetings to you. It's lovely that you all join us. It is a year on Sunday, and I am perpetually stunned that this hobby, we do call it a hobby and we do it for enjoyment, has turned into this community of lovely supportive people like Lee Smith. They all turn up, they're all loyal, they're all trying to see what we're up to. Paul Holgate, for example, is commiserating with you and empathizing with you. Just had an eye injection myself, so I sympathize, Doug. Yeah, I don't fancy it at all. Rick Storm, good morning. Yeah, we've got Simon Anthony's there, the contrarian. He's up for a fight. So yeah, good to see everybody. But on this kind of sense, so I want my sense of wonder from Doctor Who, but I've also got that nasty feeling. What are those two concocting for our Christmas present? Is it something tasty? Is it something, when you get those Christmas presents that you actually kind of look at your mum and dad and it's from Auntie Mary and you're going, oh, I don't like this. And they're going, it's okay, be polite. And then later on, we'll get a refund or something. Is that what our Christmas Doctor Who episode is going to be like, that we want a refund and it's from that dodgy relative? Or is it going to be, oh, wow. What's in the tea leaves, Dan? What you thinking?
Look, I'm being super positive. I'm probably the only thing that I'm looking forward to is War Games in Colour and Christmas special. But in terms of merchandise, I'm waiting for my Emperor Davros to turn up.
Oh, yes. He's up. Yeah, well, you've seen mine, haven't you? So good luck on that one when you get hold of it. Doug, your tea leaves, what are they telling you?
About the Christmas special?
Yeah.
I have kind of a mixed view, really. I did quite like the latest trailer, and this is a stupid thing to say. The only thing spoiling it for me is the fact that Shooty's in it, which kind of defeats the purpose. But it looks like it's quite well produced. It looks like it could be interesting, apart from that dinosaur scene that just doesn't gel with me.
No.
Wait and see, I think.
Apart from the Doctor, you're on board.
Yeah, apart from the Doctor, it'll be fantastic. It's not a weird thing to think, but I'm hoping it'll be good in spite of him.
It is.
Or who knows, it might surprise us.
Because this is it. I just want some classic scenes, some classic moments. That's all we want. And I just wonder, When I saw that Doctor Who and the Daleks shot again with that sense of wonder and exploration, I thought, is it because space travel's gone quiet? I know we've got Elon Musk doing his amazing landings and everything, but we're not doing anything in space. Like, when they had the moon landings, we had the ambassadors of death and everything was going on. And I think there's the 10th planet was touching on that was starting to do stuff in space. I just get the sense that we've lost that sense of exploration anyway in present day. So Doctor Who can't, riff off it.
Yeah.
So, so we're thinking, well, when are we going to get classic scenes like this again? And the other thing is, it is a detox, and I'm trying to have my therapy now live. But when I saw that picture from the Joy's,
that wrangled me a bit.
Yeah, because if it is a reference to Arthur Dent, or even if I know you can. I don't see dressing gowns like that. That's like a stereotype gown. I'm just thinking, I hope not, because all these little touches are innocent, but they end up just saying the whole program is just humor. Keep it light, keep it light, keep it light. Who cares? And
well, there'd be a lot of young people that wouldn't even get the references, though.
No.
Yeah, I'd rather have Marvin the Robot back. So I always ask you, as you know, your ups and downs of the week, of the Time Rotor week, of the Whovian week. So this is when our threads join in as well, because of course it's all personal. Doctor Who's personal. So here we go. So, ups and downs of your Time Rotor week. Dan, where do you want to start? Anything that made you feel so good about being a Doctor Who fan?
Well, look, I took a trip through the War Games proper, black and white, 10 episodes, just because I wanted to see it, as it was, before we delve into colour.
So you're going to be the Vandal Monitor.
Well, look, I've come out of the other end thinking, I think we can afford to tighten this script up. I think
there's a bit of trim, isn't there?
I think if Terrence Dix and Malcolm Hulk were here, they'd say, we needed to just get 10 episodes on the screen, and I think we can afford to tighten this thing up. I'm still the overall goal of the War Games still evades me a little bit too, in terms of what the whole scheme was really in aid of. It kind of all falls apart all of a sudden towards the end, and just because they've kind of discovered, and if you sit there with a critical eye, I think there are some things that could be tightened up. So but that being said, I liked it. The first time I ever saw it, I loved it, and I'm quite happy with the original. So
okay, well there you go. We've got one on the track. So Doug, you've had a busy week, but anything Doctor Who-ish, up or down?
Yeah, a couple. I got my William Hartnell season 2 Blu-ray standard edition a couple of days ago, so I've been watching that avidly, and I think you might even be touching on this later. We've discussed it. There's this site called TARDIS Time Girl who is doing the most fantastic 3D animations of Wheel in Space, and they're really, really good. And apparently I was reading that there were meetings with the BBC, but in their wisdom, they decided that fans wouldn't like them because we apparently don't like 3D animations. I think it's what we don't like is bad 3D animations.
Yeah.
But yes, I think you may be mentioning animations later today, but I was so impressed with what they've been doing, and I've seen it behind the scenes excerpts on a fantastic channel run by Josh Snares, who's a well-known Australian podcaster or content creator. So yeah, two things really: the William Hartnell box set and learning about this fantastic animation.
Yeah, and as we're talking about that, I mean, one of the ups Lee Smith says is, as you pointed out, we've all seen it probably, the Wheel in Space fan animation, which looks incredible. We will be talking about the Savages animation, which is the official one coming out. Of course, we'll talk about that and what the state of play is now. I just wanted to give a nice, lovely shout out to somebody's Founders Live. Demorpin, first time I've ever been able to check into a Detox Live. The sun hasn't even risen yet.
Welcome.
Yep. So I dare say somewhere North Atlantic, North America. Divine and Dragon, good to see you. Sticking the landing of an extended story is often the hardest part of a script. That is putting you in your place, Dan. No, he's not. Peter Harrington, I must dig the War Games out before the 23rd. This is your last chance, because every time I watch the Pyramids of Mars now, I'll know Sutek is hovering. And I suppose this is the last clean version of the War Games until you see a different version of it to some disco beat or whatever they're going to do to it.
You know what? This is a side story, but the very first time I saw the War Games was accidental. How cool is this? I discovered it in my university video library, and I'd never seen it. So I literally borrowed the VHSs, took them home, and watched all 10 episodes. And to get to see it, even the DVD restoration is beautiful compared to the VHS. But they did a really good job with the vidfire and all that.
So it's interesting, isn't it? Peter Harrington is agreeing with you, Dan, about Doug, I apologize, about the Wheel in Space one, but I know Dan's seen it as well. Graham Dawson also, Wheel in Space is brilliant. It shows you what's possible out there, and we will, like I said, discuss Savages. Now, on ups and downs, last week I was waving my little ruin at you. I mean, this is what, excuse me, it sounds dodgy, doesn't it? I'll be taken off.
Yes, it does. Don't do that again.
You get all these things. I mean, we're all in mad order mode. Who are we? I love the soundtracks when I'm driving. Haven't opened. Can you see it's still unopened? I don't know if this is a slight disease I've caught now, and the detox needs to help me. I did get this, of course.
Oh, wow.
And of course, as people know who've got it already, I mean, these are glossy, beautiful things.
They're very well done.
Everything about the Daleks you'd love to know. Absolutely glossy, beautiful. Haven't sat down and read it yet. You see, this is the issue. Haven't opened that. Haven't done that. You're starting to wonder. And of course, this came a couple of days ago. The yearbook with all you need to know about season 1.
A book. It's got the book.
Yeah.
How much do you need to know?
So so my ups might be people's downs. I don't know if they're ups or downs yet. I'm getting loads of content. I haven't finished McCoy's Blu-ray season. Watching that again. I haven't watched a season 15 one finish. I'm YouTubing like an idiot. But apart from that, I just think maybe I'm not seeing the good stuff, But here we go. Here's one of them. Is this a good news? They've finally finished the spin-off for the Sea Devils. It's a wrap. As Peter McTeague says, the war's over. It's barely begun. The most incredible experience of my career, with the best cast and crew, now friends, and how cool to wrap our epic shoot in such an iconic Pinewood studio. Cannot wait to share this show with everyone. It's been a dream. And there were a few little shots of this wrapping up. I mean, I'm all in the wrong order. Excuse me, missus. I'll show that in a moment. Russell Tovey did the same. The war between the land and the sea, and that's a wrap for what has been one of the most brilliant and magical projects of my career. I feel sad it's over, but also happy it happened. Cannot wait for the world to discover us. The most incredible scripts, blah, blah, blah. And although the shot on the right, you can read into that. No, the next to Russell Tovey sunbathing is the director of the war between the land and the sea, and they're obviously catching some sun rays. Because it's a bit like the Two Doctors, isn't it? Suddenly, they're all having a nice chill out. So I thought some people might be excited about that. I do love a Sea Devil story. I say that the original, but I'm a glutton for the Sea Devils. I do love, and so that excites me.
I hope it's good.
Yeah,
I hope it's good. Look, I think everyone would be super pumped about this if if they'd sucked the landing on the other stuff.
Yeah. What I find interesting, though, because obviously I've been talking about this, yeah, I'm going to put that threatening shot up again. Do you think Colin Baker's aiming at RTD there? It's like, but when Russell Davies on one of the BBC shows this week on the Ron Show said, Doctor Who's coming back sooner than you think. Well, most people thought if he followed the trend, it would be May. So if it's coming back earlier, and I've done my stream about it, is it January? Is it March? We look at some of the calendar options. But the war between the land and the sea is important in that, isn't it? Because it's 5 episodes. They're not going to be stupid. If season 2 comes fast in 2025, would they then put those 5 episodes in the autumn? Then you have the Christmas Doctor Who, but then there's nothing. Or would they save the 5 till after, in a year's time, Christmas? And so you're staggering Doctor Who. You think of all the timey-wimey stuff. I ask you to, do you care?
If it's good, I care.
There's a slight
Look, to be honest, if it turns around and they announce after the Christmas special, coming January, I'll be like, I'm up for it.
Yeah. What about you, Doug? How are you feeling about it? I mean, am I just going too far into it?
No. Is it interesting? Still talk about ups and downs. One of my downs for the week was watching your last video, Brendan, when you talked about what could be happening in season 2 and a potential musical episode, and that filled me with dread. So I'm really hoping the spin-off is at least watchable. I'm sure production-wise it'll look fantastic, but it's all about the substance, isn't it? And how good the story is. But yeah, I'm getting to the point where I don't care. That I thought I would never say that, having watched the show since 1963, but I'm getting very close.
Yes, and we're all passionate. And actually, one of the things I did in my Bi-Generates discussion with Cinnamon was there's a Radio Times has put a tiny YouTube interview up with some Whovian. Is Doctor Who still relevant in 2024? And he doesn't say anything really. He uses the analogy I've always used, which is we're like football fans. Managers come and go, but you stick with the team. The playing style might change, but you stick with the team. You normally do. That's what passion does for you. You take the rough with the smooth. So I do that as a Doctor Who fan, but there is a point when is a fan an idiot when you're thinking, well, look, I mean, I haven't truly enjoyed Doctor Who for quite a while now. I've got to be honest. I'm not being a killjoy. I mean, I am watching it going, oh, I love that TARDIS effect, or I like that little bit. I love to see the new opening sequences and various little things like that. And I was intrigued by the specials, but I haven't really enjoyed a Doctor Who episode for years now. And when do you start to say to yourself, well, it's clearly not for yours now. That's it. It's gone.
I don't see it as other people's. I just see it as good and great and average Doctor Who. Like you, I enjoyed the specials. I thought we were heading in the right direction, despite some of the issues that came out of those. But yeah, I've honestly don't feel like season 1 captured the spirit of the specials, though. It felt like a different show, didn't it?
Yeah, it totally did.
Well, we've got some lovely pals who are joining us. Some are waking up. I hope it's a pleasant wake up to us, our detox. So X-Man, I'm awake this morning. It's 5:30. Where we're up to? Well, we're about to talk about the Savages and all the rest of it. Edward Bracken, sadly, I agree with Doug in that I don't care anymore, though I still fully love the classic show. And I was talking to Jeremy last night when we did our Planet of the Daleks recording review. So please look out for that over Christmas. And Jeremy, as people will know on my stream, I interviewed him and he said he's walked away from Doctor Who. But I said to him, if he heard there was a good episode, he would come back because he's a fan. Of course he would. It's just he's going, well, Brendan, tell me when that happens. So yeah. I mean, so the detox has already gone a little bit. Well, here's some more good news then. I think Doctor Who music team, Cardiff, wrapping up the year with another recording session with the National Orchestra of Wales. Murray Gold, I was pleased he was back. I haven't found the music as kind of memorable as before. Maybe that's a direction by RTD, because it normally is, isn't it? Let's so I just wanted to kind of show that wrap. But here we go, another item. Right, season 2, and I might as well kind of I'm going to try my best, everybody. I'm going to really try my best. So I've just had a little negative moment. Season 2.
100, 99, 98, 97, 96, 95, 94, 93, 92, 91.
I mean, season 2 sounds all right. Listen to this. Can you tease anything to come in the upcoming second season? Danger. Enemies like we've never seen before. We stretched the envelope last season. Did you? But we get even madder and wilder. Oh, those words. The Joy really is the new companion, Varada Sithu, playing Belinda Chandra, who comes aboard the TARDIS with a very strong story that spans the entire season. A companion-centric story. It's glorious, and I'm very proud of it. So, Dan, how does this sound?
Oh, look, that's probably the one thing that's worn off on me, the hyperbole. Yeah, I actually feel like I wish they'd come out and just say, no, I think we've had a good crack at this. It's the talking it up, it doesn't do anything for me at the moment. I just want to see it.
Yes. Don't give me 1 minute trailers. Just let us get on with it. Now, Lee Smith is reminding us it needs to deliver new cool aliens and robots.
Definitely.
Yes, I think, let's go forward, not backwards. I think it's always important in any job, in any organization, keep going forward. So X-Man's just reminding me, Brendan, remember when Artie said there won't be any Daleks? That's the phrase that lost me. Are you sad about that? Because when I saw the Destination Skaro and I saw the retcon of Davros, I thought, what could you do to the Daleks? Can the Daleks have a gender? That sort of thing. So
it could be a blessing.
Yes, at the moment, I love the Daleks. I've just done a review of them last night. Yes, I love the Daleks, but I don't like them being messed with. And they've been messed with something rotten. But the thing that I've taken from what he said then, and yes, I agree with you, Dan, there's a lot of hyperbole and blah. It's when he says that it's got this amazing story for the new companion, and you're thinking, oh, for God's sake. Jo Grant, she had a character arc. Lartep fancied her. She said no. Then the next story, screen death, and she cops off with him. There you go. She grew. She matured a bit. That's it. And as we were saying last night, what happened in the Plane of Stones stays in the Plane of Stones. That's it. But please stop the soap opera.
Oh, I just wish they'd get back to a hero's journey, and have some good old fashioned values. Rather than all this airy fairy stuff.
Yeah, and it's a shame because I know a lot of fans have gone into this photo shoot. I mean, it looks as though you've gone in one of those photo booths with your girlfriend or something, and just kind of just messed on. The whole vibe of how Doctor Who and maybe other shows is presented now is so different. Now, if they call this modern, I just feel as though it looks more superficial. It just. Is she exuding her Belinda Chandra character there, or are they just having a mess on? He certainly doesn't look as though he's acting like any doctor. Some of the stuff he...
Well, I hope they give us a vibrant young woman, because she's very attractive, and the last thing I'd hate to see them make her a frump. So, yeah.
I doubt that. Well... Let's cheer ourselves up for a moment. I saw this the other day. I didn't see it. I just saw it advertised. William Hartnell in Murder in Reverse. I thought, and a lot of people say this is one of William Hartnell's best in in his movie. So I'm going to check that out. Does anyone know anything about that in the thread or
No,
anywhere?
hard to know about. No,
Murder in Reverse ? So yeah.
intriguing.
Yeah, and of course, I think that's another thing that it gets you going is sometimes a bit of old TV. So yes, I think I've done my naughty job of making us a bit toxed up. The therapy's
you.
not working. You're glad you came on now, Doug.
Oh, so cool.
So let's get back to the main game. The Savages was announced yesterday. The animation will be out, and there were various details. There was a trailer of about a minute, and you saw the color version of the animation. There's William Hartnell. I'll just show you some of these. So 24th of March 2025, the Blu-ray will be out, a 3-disc release, including all 4 animated episodes in color and black and white, as they always do now, plus some brand new bonus features. That detail needs to go bigger for you. It's based obviously on the 4-part story anyway, which was from May and June 66, and it's the Savages, the Doctor and his travel companions Stephen and Dodo arrive on an unnamed planet where they encounter 2 distinct people, the Elders and the Savages. They soon discover the Elders are the evil, draining the primitive Savages for their life source to remain young and powerful forever. This story marks the final regular appearance of Stephen. And so, lost to the world, but we've managed to, obviously, with that magic of somebody having the audio, my God. And so, as Paul Hembry, the executive producer, says, we have a wonderful team of creators who work together to bring these lost Doctor Who stories back to life through animation. And of course, he is a bit, that looks like, I don't know if you remember that 70s Hanna-Barbera cartoon, The Valley of the Dinosaurs.
Yes.
Yes, it looks a bit like that, doesn't it? That's not knocking it, that's just saying it. And there you go. I'll just show you some of these shots, just so you get a flavour first. There's Dodo being realised. Now, lads, if you can see Dodo there, she wasn't in many, of course. It was a troubled time, but that's not a bad likeness. But I think the best likeness is this one, though. There's me.
No.
I mean, good old Greg Chapman keeps doing these for me. Brendan as Dodo. My God,
that's disturbing.
Yeah, can't unsee that, can you?
Well, he sent me John Daly as Tegan. I've seen some troublesome ones. So so yes, here's the animation. It has Galaxy 4 had that kind of simplistic landscape. There's Stephen Taylor. Bit of an
I will appreciate this, I think, because I was like, I know nothing about this story, and I went to my CD missing adventures CDs, and I realized I don't even think I've listened to the audios on this.
Yes, well, and this is what I mean. I will always be honest. I think the only thing we can be is authentic and honest. The Savages isn't top of my list, and I think because of, it's an interesting sci-fi concept. It's been done a few times in different ways, but it's a sci-fi concept, nonetheless. And we'll go into the story a little bit in a moment. But I'm just saying how how the thread's taken this. So X-Man, I have the animated version of David Tennant's for, oh gosh. Lee Smith thinks the Savages looks poor. I'll keep going through this. I try not to kind of criticize. I just try and
I don't mind the look of it myself. I think it looks all right.
Yeah, it's up there with some of the 70s ones I used to see. It's just, I think people compare. It was said a lot earlier in our thread, the invasion was just lovely. The invasion.
Oh, the invasion is brilliant.
Does anyone in the chat, or is anyone here on the panel? Doug, did you ever see this go out? Do you remember it?
This?
Yeah.
It's funny you say that. I would have watched it because I'm old enough, and I definitely watched every episode of Doctor Who that's ever been on. But can I remember it? No. But I would have definitely watched it because I used to sit down in front of that TV every Saturday night when I was growing up in the UK, and whenever I could when we came to Australia. I do remember Dodo. Obviously, I remember Stephen. I seem to remember Dodo wasn't in it for long, but I might be wrong. I know she doesn't feature much on.
Well, she was in the War Machines, wasn't she? I remember seeing.
Yes, I think that might be when we first met her. I think. I'm not sure. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. That's when we met the sailor guy, wasn't it? Ben and Polly. Yeah, that was a weird one. That was Dodo's last episode. I remember that. That was a weird one. She just kind of disappeared towards the end, and they just mentioned in passing that she'd gone off somewhere, and that was how they said goodbye to her. I remember that now.
It's I'm not measure. I'm trying to measure the thread a bit here. I mean, yes, Freddie Yeager's in it from Planet of Evil and various other ones. Fast Bandit says looks flat compared to the wheel animations.
That's true. I don't mind the style.
Yeah, Raymond Williams does say it's better than nothing. Dislike the color version. It's over the top, but I will watch it in black and white.
I'm just glad to see more Hartnell. That's my thing. The more Hartnell, the better.
Yes, yeah, I know, and that's what I mean. Good to see Triple Jazz. The Savages should, but doesn't excite me at all. Never did. I never did. I saw the telesnaps. I've heard the audio. Like fans, we've all got it, but it's not a go-to for me.
No, it's not.
And that's the truth of it. Now, this is we've had a fair few animations. Is this because there's either the over-ambitious ones left? Yeah, Paul Holgate saying the War Machines is when Dodo left.
That's right, yeah.
But as Triple Jazz says, how long ago is it since they did Invasion? Strange how years can pass and technologies grow, but still some of the early animations are better than the recent ones.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Is this about money or is this just about...
I think it might be. I think it was a different production house too, wasn't it, Invasion? I forget who they were, but weren't they the ones that did Danger Mouse, the ones that did Invasion? And they did
the Cosgrove. The Cosgrove ones, I think, are the best ones.
They are absolutely the best. I think it was money, Brendan. I think it was to do with budget and that sort of thing. I think the Invasion is a tough one to top. Maybe I don't mind Power of the Daleks. But a lot of the animations, it's funny, I buy them all and I love to watch them, but very few of them have impressed me, but I know they're working.
See, I've turned into just that collector who is a fan. So I've bought the Celestial Toymaker. Actually, the screenshots I saw, I thought looked fine and looked as though they fitted the story. The issue was, the honest truth is, they are still on my shelf and I still haven't. Last night I sat there for a second after doing our recording and I thought, oh, shall I just watch episode 1 of the Celestial Toymaker? And my head just said no.
Nah.
And so I'm collecting them because I want
to do that.
But then I'm thinking, am I going to be racing to put the Savages Part 1 on, or am I just glad I collected it?
No.
Yeah, I very rarely do I. Do you know what's captured me the most on these missing stories is, I must admit, I've got more engagement out of the Ian Levine's AI stuff.
Now,
it's got potential, hasn't it?
I haven't yet given it. I'm not. It's not anything political. I just haven't got round to really properly looking at them. I've seen clips of them. Yeah,
they're a bit rough around the edges, but I can see what they're trying to do, and good on him for trying.
I mean, unless they don't do please don't do an abominable snowman when they actually started doctoring it a little bit. Just give us as close to the telesnaps as you can. Give us visuals next to the audio, and I'm happy to a degree because that livens it up. I haven't had this audio playing for the last decade, so that might just get me back into some of old latter William Hartnell. I've got Sir X-Man here. Good to see you. I want an animated version of the Keys to Time. What the Tom Baker one? Or do you mean the Keys of Marinus? I'm trying to think.
You've got keys. You got the Keys of Time on DVD. So I don't know why you'd want it animated.
Whether it's just to change, I don't know. I want an animated version of the Keys to Time. The thing is, it's priorities, isn't it? It's like budget and priorities. There's missing stories with audio. Let's get them wrapped up first, please. And then we can tinker on the edges of various things. But yeah, I suppose this is where RTD will say, there you go, you can never please every Doctor Who fan. It's such a hard job being me.
He doesn't need to please us because we'll buy it anyway.
Yeah, he knows. He knows. He knows we're mad. Last minute introduction and the massacre, mostly owing to the fact that John Rouse couldn't decide on an ideal girl. This is Dodo, originally intended to be Anne, the serving girl. Thanks for that information.
Okay.
It's a hazier time for me, I have to say, that kind of period of Doctor Who.
I still don't know. I still don't know how Ben and Polly came into it all.
Was that the War Machine?
In the War Game. Ben and Polly came into the War Game, and the War Games introduced them, but they just kind of appeared out of nowhere. I think met in a nightclub or something.
Yeah,
right.
It was the War Machines, wasn't it?
Not War Games. Sorry, but what's it called?
War Machines.
War Machines. Yeah. But that was their first episode.
Yeah.
Sorry, painkillers.
It's all right.
I'm blaming everything on painkillers tonight.
Demorpin, I haven't clicked with any of the animations, to be honest. I'm so glad the Telesnaps recreations exist. I mean, I suppose this is the argument with the War Games in colour and the Daleks in colour. People are saying, look, you can have it if you want. If not, you've got the Telesnaps. If not, you've got it in black and white. If not, you've got it unedited. I only buy into the argument so far because it depends what the. I mean, if this is here's color animation if you want it, and if you don't, you've got the Telesnaps. Fine. When it comes to the War Games, I think it's a different idea because you could be distorting the story and changing it, and that's different. Peter Harrington, get that wheel in space out. Use that wonderful animation and release a Blu-ray season. Yeah, yes. We're all wanting that, aren't we?
Well, the BBC had a chance and they said no. Go figure. And she was on this behind the scenes thing. She was even willing to change anything they wanted just to get it out there. Even put it as a special feature on a Blu-ray. It's a husband and wife team, I believe. They just wanted it to be out there. They were doing this for love, not for money. But the BBC said no. The fans don't like 3D animation, which is bullshit. It just sorry, I don't want to get you cancelled. Painkillers, but I think what's probably happened is people don't want bad 3D animation. I mean, it took me a while to get used to it, I will admit, but once I got into it, I'm hooked on this in this current Wheel in Space. It's really good and very faithful. They used a lot of the telesnaps and they used a lot of their own reenactments. They actually did a lot of different techniques. Bit of a plug for Josh Snares, but watch his video. It goes into detail on how they put it together.
Yeah.
I agree with Peter.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, in the end, I suppose the measure is, will the audience buy it? Of course I will buy it. So therefore, they win. Yeah. It's only when we vote with our hands and don't buy and don't watch. It's just like we're saying with Doctor Who itself, the program. It's when you stop watching that the big task for them comes in. But at the moment, we're all loyal to it and trying our best with it.
But if you buy it, if once we buy it though, we can then say whatever we want about it. I think we're entitled to say whatever.
We're very entitled, and we will.
We will.
Well, we
will. We'll say lots of stuff.
Here's the actual shots from the story, just a few to kind of just show you. And what's interesting about it, which I have forgotten, is there's the Doctor's nice and kind of strong in it. How dare you call your treatment of these people progress? He's really on it. Once he susses them out, and it's Dodo who susses them out first. Do you not realize that all progress is based on exploitation? He says to the Doctor. Excuse me, I fail to see the difference. Oh, good man. Exploitation indeed. Yes, sir, it's a protracted murder. Must put an end to this in human practice. This sacrifice, even one soul, is far too great. I mean, these are all great morals to be teaching kids if you watch it. So your rewards are only for the people that you agree with. Oh my God, that sounds like 2024 media.
Doesn't it?
I mean, irony.
You edited it. Did RTD already edit it?
Yes, the mic
got to it.
Yeah. So let's repeat that again. Our first Doctor in 1966 said in a different time, so your rewards are only for the people that agree with you. Nowadays, if you're not agreed with, you are cancelled or just not given the job. That seems to be
Love
the
it.
vibe I'm getting. Yes.
Love it.
Yeah. So my gosh, we need another First Doctor back. Can the First Doctor please come back? Your time is now good to come back and fight the elders of the BBC and fight the elders of Disney and fight the elders of all these organizations who think there's only one way, their highway, or get off. Nobody wants a room full of debate anymore. People don't seem to know how to debate. We need this First Doctor back from the Savages who says, excuse me, I'm not having this. Let's fight. So are we just all being little First Doctors now? We're fighting the fight for Doctor Who.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, my
Big
God.
time.
It's great when you discover these lines again. There's some great stuff in Doctor Who. How people
It really is. It really is. Yeah.
So X-Man is being funny. I love it. These animated versions make me feel like I'm watching the Yellow Submarine with the Doctor in it. Yes, those Beatles animations.
Yellow Submarine was good.
Paul Richards, they've given Stephen Taylor a wonderful chin. Yes, he's now a cartoon sex symbol. Peter Harrington, BBC need to swallow their pride. They have an audience for these animated stories. It all helps as long as it's faithful, and it does have to.
Oh, Peter, I'm agreeing with everything you say tonight, mate. Spot on.
Yeah, he's on it. He's on it.
He's totally on.
Today's audience can only cope with Honey and Babes. Well, yeah, that's the level. Gosh, how far has this show changed? It so shocks me sometimes.
I don't know that I'm against Honey and Babes.
So there you go. But I've got a bit of reaction here as well as from the thread and yourselves. So we've got Gary Finney's there on one of his Facebook pages. I doubt we will see the Crusade animated. And if we do, it'll be the last one done. I'm not convinced we'll see the Space Pirates done either. I'm pretty sure the season 6 Blu-ray will be out before the end of next year. So they've done the War Games. Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? And I've got the list here. I'll show everybody the missing episodes and what we think is going to come up next and where we think the problems are going to be. So the Savages is coming up, good or bad. But there are other problems ahead. Beth here, the Savages is the missing Doctor Who story that I'd most want to be found. I'm so excited. It's great. If it's your story, I mean, here we go. I'll ask the lads in a minute and I'll ask the thread, what next? What next? Would you like? Ben Williams here, The Savages is not one of Hartnell's absolute best stories, but it has one of my favourite moments from his era, when the Doctor, in righteous fury, stands his ground to decry a civilization built on suffering. I've just shown a bit of it there. Thank you, Ben. Matthew Purchase, with The Savages now confirmed as the next animation, that now takes season 3 to 6 completed stories, Galaxy 4, Ark, Toymaker, Gunfighters, Savages, and War Machines. Now the same number of stories as a 70s season. So they're piling it on. Gordon here, I imagine the next couple are Smugglers, The Wheel in Space, they reckon, Myth Makers, and maybe Space Pirates. Isn't it funny how we all have different opinions? Everything beyond that's going to be a challenge. And I think this is where I will ask you in a moment. Ben, again, I think this animated style will work better as it's more performance-driven story rather than that style in Toymaker. Now, you can't see that. It's a bit of a tricky one. But if I just show you there, these are... So we've updated, thanks to Doctor Who, Gallifrey Base, and a few others. We've updated the missing episodes. So green is... We're good. We've got them. Animations are blue. The missing ones are red. Okay. And obviously there's that pinky one, which is the recreated Mission to the Unknown. So I don't know if you can see that clear there. We're missing Marco Polo, Myth Makers, Daleks Master Plan, the Massacre of St. Bartholomew's Eve, obviously the Crusade, the Smugglers, the Highlanders, the Wheel in Space, and the Space Pirates. Dan, I'll keep that up for now, but what would you love to see next?
Look, I think they should release a season 3 Blu-ray box set, because I reckon the minute that thing hits the shelves, it'll force just through Murphy's Law, any existing episodes to turn up, forcing us all to buy them again.
Oh God, I can see your logic. Doug, any thoughts on what you'd love to come back?
I would love to see Marco Polo really well done. Once again, I watched it when it first came out, but I can't remember it. But I know in its day it was much praised for its production design. So I'd love to see a really good animation of Marco Polo. I'd also like to see the BBC get over themselves and do something about the wheel in space, because seriously, come on.
Yeah.
Apart from that, I'm not too sure.
What about Dalek
Nothing
Master
grabs
Plan?
me.
Well,
Yes, sorry, yes. I forgot all about it. Yes, I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
Well, this is it, and we've got fans and Ian Levine and various people tinkering with them, and this is what I get. This is when people get proprietorial, and this is when fans get fighting with fans about styles and all the rest of it. The BBC needs to take charge, and actually just get on with it. If there's issues, sell us the issues. You could even ask us for Vox Pops. You could say to the fans, look, we can do the Dalek Master Plan, we can do Marco Polo, but this is our budget, and the amount of scenes in Marco Polo, I think, will stretch the animation budget, because there's just so many scenes.
It totally would. It probably won't happen unless they find another way. But you're absolutely right there.
So whether they said to the fans, look, there's a version we can do, would you, I mean, I don't know, talk to people, communicate, but don't just kind of, just talk to us, please. Now, what I've got on here is the Doctor Who animation range so far, and my God, this is a 20-year project. We started with the invasion, as we've already mentioned, and if you take a look through, there was that horrible 7-year gap that just seemed to kind of be killer. They're starting to pick up the pace now. I wonder if there's any method in their madness on their choices about why they picked, say, the Savages next. What, where we're going with this.
Maybe it's just easier to animate. Maybe it was a budget thing.
Yeah. Well, that's I think money does talk at the moment, doesn't it? And of course, almost too much sometimes. But here, I wanted to show you this. One of our fans did this. Season 3, total number of episodes 45, total missing 28. Unanimated 18. And so, they're looking at the percentages of, what would be the next Blu-ray, what would be next. So, how far is it where it could be season 3. On the existing episodes for Troughton and Hartnell, 156, animated 50, animated missing ones, 53 now. I mean, God, yet to be animated, another 44. God, there's a lot to do, isn't there? Still, it's a lifetime, absolute lifetime. So, when you see that, I feel a little bit down in the dumps. Actually, it's not a detox or a toxic issue. It's just kind of, you think it is a lifetime. I might be 90 when the last animation comes out, and I don't know.
I'll be dead.
It's frightening, isn't it? It is very, very frightening when you look at that, because you're a Doctor Who fan and you might just not see the project through. It's like, gosh. So let's just see what the thread is saying. They've got lively about the animations, as we always are. Even so, the guy they interviewed about the 10th Planet wouldn't say anything horrible about him. I've gone in the wrong place there, Peter Venkman. What am I picking up? Peter, the Beeb are like the end of The Prisoner. Any words are shouted down, even if you are put on a pedestal. You must conform as long as you agree with their doctrine.
Oh, Peter, you're on fire tonight, mate.
It really is. George Rainey, maybe they should hold all of the Blu-rays until AI is perfected and do them right. I'm quite surprised the technology hasn't moved fast enough by now. Really?
It's happening very quickly now. So it'll be interesting to see how good it gets.
Oh, here we go. Triple Jazz he's our first proper riff of the night. If you gentlemen presenters were to be cast as a new Doctor Who TARDIS crew, who would make the best Doctor? Who would be Nissa? Who's going to get the top off? No.
Don't tell me about your fantasies tonight, Brendan. Let's just talk Doctor Who. Come on.
I did my intimacy coordinator. But who would be the best Doctor? Well, I have to say, sometimes I Do you want a youthful doctor? In which case, you'd have to go for Dan. Because unfortunately, I'm in my mid-50s. I won't ask. I'll be a gentleman with Doug. I don't. But if you want an older doctor, then me and Doug come into the frame. You see?
I could do Hartnell. I'm even getting the hair. Look at this.
Well,
I could be
Yes,
Hartnell.
I could do a hair arc.
Actually, yeah, Doug, you should do what Sylvester McCoy did in the Doctor Who movie. When he did, he kind of jazzed it up.
Gives you a laugh, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he really went for it. But Paul Holgate, he's making it clear: Daleks master plan, Highlanders, and Wheel in space, please. At any price, Paul Holgate. I don't mean regarding money, but when I say they may have to compromise on what they actually show you because of the ridiculous cost of Marco Polo Dalek master plan. I mean that's got so many cases as well. I think the BBC have authenticated and are happy with the mission to the unknown made by those students. That reconstruction. I mean, I liked it.
It
they seem to have gone with that. So there we go. Animations.
Where do you guys stand on sort of redoing them in a new series?
Well,
redoing classic Doctors, you mean?
Well, yeah, so we've had 60 years of just moving forward with the show,
right?
But what if they did do a reimagining? A bit.
I'm not against that. I'm not against that at all.
Trek, Strange New Worlds, where they're just sort of reimagining the same stuff.
Yeah, I would watch that. I'm not against that if it's done well. Yeah, absolutely. Even if they used old stories, I don't care. Let's do it.
I did ask you in one of my live saloons, it must have been 5-6 weeks ago, cancel, rest, reboot, or continue the show. And of course, within that came your question, Dan. By the way, just those are the answers that I got. 60%, I said, I was being kind, think RTD is getting it wrong. It's actually more than that when you recalibrate some of the statistics. But within the argument about rebooting, continuing, or resting, an awful lot of people were saying, because I'm trying as a kind of compare the show to try and say what options are available. And I am toying with the idea that they've done it with Star Trek, that you actually just start again. And while we want this was my argument. Rest the series before it's just irretrievable. Just rest it, please, for now. And it'll have to be a fair few years, I reckon, till we get a completely different setup. While we have that gap, that doesn't mean no new Doctor Who. We could have, and I don't mean wilderness years, let's have Big Finish and everything. I mean, we could do some experimental, a new production team remakes some old classics. Or if you don't like any classics being touched, and I suppose I don't really, some of those unloved Doctor Who ones from the 60s, remake them just as kind of one-offs. In colour, with all the special effects now, while we wait, and then eventually bring the proper full whack Doctor Who back. I got shot down really when I said that. People said, "No, don't you dare!"
You did get shot down, but I do agree with you, Brendan. And I don't think you should have got shot down. I agree with you. I think that'd be great.
I mean,
people were nice to me, but they didn't like the idea. And I tried to make the point, didn't I? That Poirot, how many Poirots have we had? How many Miss Marples have we had? How many
Tarzans? Sherlock Holmes.
The taster for me was when they got Paul McGann to do Shana with Lila Ward. I really enjoyed that. I thought it was really good.
Yeah. Paul Holgate, by the way, I'm not saying what they did was good. but
Star Trek Discovery is.
Yeah, but it's an option. I know there's so much cynicism now, and I've got it too, which is, well, I know, but even another production team, wouldn't they just do the same old?
I enjoy Strange New Worlds, but I know the Star Trek fans are like, you're an idiot.
No, the first series was really good, but it lost me in season 2, I'm afraid. But I really liked the first season of Strange New Worlds. I liked what they were trying to do.
Yeah. Well, Paul Holgate's willing on the Dalek master plan because the Daleks are the selling point. Marco Polo less so. Yeah, it's a historical.
I guess so.
you know, we have a love for it. The trouble is, we're Doctor Who fans. What do the casual public think? George Rainey, when they get AI that looks almost as good as the real episodes, it will be an instant buy. So if the BBC are smart, they should do it when AI becomes perfect. So basically, resist the public, hold back, and just wait till they think it's ready. The trouble is, the BBC are also cost cutting, and I you know, they're not in the best place to spend money.
You know what's going to happen though? If AI gets that good, then we can just write our own Doctor Who and make the AI do it for us.
Well, look, Dead Man. I'm starting a campaign. I didn't think I was ahead of a campaign, and you know what happens to leaders? They all get. But Dead Man's going, I think your idea is brilliant. Remake the lost episodes. Well, that's not quite what I said, but yeah, it's a version of, isn't it? Which is
We'll take credit for it.
Yeah, I'm taking
I
credit.
think Dan's right. Actually, I think what Dan said is right. I think maybe moving forward, it's all about fans doing new and interesting versions of Doctor Who and seeing what's out there.
The thing is, did you see?
Yeah.
They did a remake for one episode of Are You Being Served, and they did a remake of some Dodds Army Lost episodes.
Yeah,
And
they weren't good, were they?
they weren't, and they tried their best. I can't knock what they were trying to do. They really were trying to get almost like for like.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
What they remade, Are You Being Served?
One episode.
Just a one-off. It was a special. What was the reason, Brendan? It was some sort of celebration of classic TV or something, wasn't it? There was a whole lot. Because wasn't that how the Open All Hours reboot was born? They turned it into a series.
And that's what I mean. And that's how Steptoe and Son started, wasn't it? It was just a one-off.
Yeah.
And Now You've Been Served was a one-off. And then it was put back on because there was a strike.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's method in their madness, but it didn't. I don't know. I think there's maybe some programs, some comedies, some characters that you just cannot recast. So Are You Being Served, for good or bad, every character as delivered by, you know, Molly Sugden, John Inman and all that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't. Dad's Army, how can you replace the Dad's Army cast?
Yeah, they tried. There was a Dad's Army movie which was watchable, but it wasn't Dad's Army.
No. And so therefore I'm now shooting down my own argument.
Yeah, actually. God, what's going on here?
God. But yeah, it's complicated, isn't it? But you know, how far is your hunger? And how far, it's that kind of measure going on.
I think those comedies shows that you mentioned, though, are like lightning in a bottle. Like
that's right. They were absolutely lightning in a bottle.
You can't substitute the individual characters in those and get the same effect.
Now let's feel more Doctor Who-y and get that warm blanket going. Now, I normally say on this day, or I have an item. So I hedge it around these days in Doctor Who history, and there's some nice and sad. You've got The Greatest Show in the Galaxy Part 1. The invasion was almost finishing. An Unearthly Child, the first ever Doctor Who story, was doing its final part. And I don't normally do this, but I was doing Planet of the Daleks last night, and David Maloney, the director, who directed The Mind Robber, he directed Genesis of the Daleks, he did Talons of Wen Chian, and I've often...
Genesis of the Daleks?
Yeah, and... So having done Planet of the Daleks last night as a recording, and like I say, I'll say it again, you know, it will be up soon, folks, for you to enjoy over your Christmas. I mean, by the way, look at this. Look at those figures.
Oh, wouldn't you kill for figures like that now?
Yeah. I mean, look at that. It has the same cursor of maybe a long story. Your audience tails off, or that issue about the Daleks, gradually the Daleks lose their luster. You know, everybody wants to see them, but then gradually people peel off because Daleks talking to Daleks never seems to do anything. But those figures are phenomenal, and it was kind of partly the kind of peak time of Doctor Who, wasn't it? That, but yeah, but David Maloney, he did it. He and I have to say, he had an interesting style with the Daleks. Genesis and Planet, he's good with the corridors. He's good. He's obviously got Dudley Simpson doing that clash of a cymbal sound for a Dalek. Those jump thrills and everything. I liked what he did, David Maloney. And yeah, it's always sad to see somebody's passing. But gosh, the legacy of what he's done for Doctor Who.
Mm.
I mean, out of those, Talons of Wen Cheyenne, Mind Robber, Genesis.
Oh God, what a resume!
It is, isn't it? And I often remembered Elizabeth Sladen talking about David Maloney. So obviously that they had some, lovely thought, they had a good repartee and all the rest of it. But there you go, in another muddy quarry trying to kill a Dalek. But it looked an interesting day when they were filming this because, gosh, it was a mess.
That Dalek looks like it's in remarkably good condition too.
Yeah.
Still got a bit of shine on it.
That was the grey Daleks, wasn't it? I love those. I love those grey ones.
Yes.
You can see the wheels there.
And I'd love to know who decides this. I know Barry Letts was all over things like a proper producer was, very thoughtful. But who makes the decision about Dalek shades and colours and stuff like that? Because these battleship grey Daleks that you also saw in Genesis are mine. That is my period.
I love them. I love them, absolutely. Am I right, Brendan, in saying that this was the first time we saw the Daleks in colour, apart from Peter Cushing, obviously? Is that
Dave the Daleks.
And they cannot speak properly.
Yeah, we cannot speak properly. One of us is gold. We have a controller who looks like David Cameron. Yeah, that kind of thing. So yes, David Maloney. So as I was saying, then that was just as a kind of option for everybody to think about. But your thoughts, if you looked at that list, what triggers you a little bit, Dan?
I would be interested in Great Australian Galaxy for sure, and Invasion Part 7.
Yeah, same.
I need to. It's one of those periods I need to go back to the Greatest Show, and actually in episode 1, you cannot beat, even with a tame Doctor Who story, an episode 1 where you don't know what's going on and you have to go for the ride.
Absolutely.
Explanations sometimes don't work. I can slag off RTD's reset button, but to be honest, sometimes the resolutions were a little bit. But episode 1s, oh my God! I mean, if they said there's some things you're going to lose in life, and never to have the memory of episode 1s of Doctor Who, where you really, really were just getting thrilled, confused, didn't have a clue what was going on, and for a whole 25 minutes, that's all you wanted. And remember, I know there's all this binge watching now, but the thing about Doctor Who in those days with the episode 1ers and then the cliffhanger was, you knew when you tuned in, and you still did, that you would not get any answers. You knew they were going to bait you with a cliffhanger. You knew. And you knew they were probably going to even scare you by the end. And you were still buckled in on the settee to do it.
Yeah.
Have we really changed that much? I don't think so.
There's nothing better than that. At that 23-minute mark, you hear the sting and roll the credits. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I love the thrill of. I don't know if I ever looked at the clock, or you got a sense in the program that the music
got a
changed,
sense,
and you start to think, oh, I think we're building to the, right, okay. And you don't know if somebody's going to fall down a lift shaft. You just don't know. It's like.
Well, the other thing I remember as well is that when I was just watching it each afternoon after school, you didn't know, is this a 4-parter? Is it a 2-parter? Is it a 6-parter?
Yeah.
So you didn't know if it was actually going to come to an end this week or not.
No. There was a, there was a shock, I have to say, with the Planet of the Daleks when we were talking about that yesterday, was the romance. And we made a point that when we go on about, no romance in New Who, and we've criticised that, so where do we stand with this? But we did think this was a tee-up for the Green Death. It was preparing the audience for her departure. Intimacy coordinator or not. I mean, she's acting well there. She really thinks he's the greatest thing. God knows what happened to that.
Oh, yeah.
And then she says, no, I'm not going with you. I'm sticking with an old codger. I mean,
He's in like Flint there.
Yeah.
So, Peter Harrington, the Zygons, that reveal with Sarah Jane, episode 1. Yes, it was. It was one of the greatest cliffhangers, in my opinion. What I wanted to also throw up, and I've got to get it in place here. You know, I'm a little bit kind of wee today.
Oi.
I'm
That
from
would just
Middlesbrough.
extra words, are we?
Well,
Oi.
yeah. My granddad did that. My Scottish granddad Jock. Tell us about the war, Granddad. Tell me about the war. And he was a commando in the Second World War. We found out,
Oh, wow.
scuba diver and everything. But all he would do is sound effects like. So you know, everyone says, "Oh, you must be proud of what your granddad did in the war." And yes, I've done some research now, but all I know is there was lots of splashes and shots. And I've picked up that trait. I used to teach sometimes, and if you can't think of a word, you just do a sound effect. The
Make
kids
a noise.
if in doubt. Anyway,
I'll
just
tell
to
them to
buy,
go read a book.
yeah. Well, you know what, Dan? When I taught in Brisbane, the kids used to love it. Going, what are we going to have today, Mr. Noble? And I knew they were waiting because they could see I'd printed them off. Is it a booklet? Are we going to get a booklet? They loved it. Oh,
Don't pick on the northerner.
Yeah, it's a booklet. So there you go. Anyway,
Let's go cooking.
Yeah, cook and bath and grass. Yeah. So
I almost told a joke then, but it's not suitable for this time slot.
Oh, very dangerous. You're already on the naughty step. So
it's painkillers.
Anyway, when Boomer Doug wasn't on painkillers, he did give us his thoughts as he usually does. Here we go.
Another movie to influence Doctor Who was the all-time classic Alien. If you have a look here in these photos, you've got the very terrifying face hugger, which is strikingly similar to this. The dream crab from last Christmas. Coincidence? What do you think? I'm a huge fan of Christmas, and consequently I've been revisiting a lot of the Doctor Who Christmas specials, which unlike Brendan the Grinch, I love. And I've recently revisited the Last Christmas, which, as I explained in the voiceover, has certain similarities to Alien. Now again, not a rip-off. Obviously the face hugger has definitely influenced the design of the dream crab, but it's not just that. The whole sense of menace and foreboding and the dark tunnels convey the sense of impending doom that Alien did. Obviously Alien was a classic, but I thought they did it quite well. But also I noticed on this rewatch a lot of other influences too, not the least of which was the Thing from Another World. Apart from the setting, it had a lot of the same sort of themes of paranoia and not knowing who you could trust and stuff. And then one that I didn't get the first time, surprisingly, Inception. The whole dreams and dreams within a dream thing. It was very, very clever. All in all, it was quite a good episode. I must confess it's maybe not perfect, but it's one of my favourites. And Nick Frost puts in a fantastic performance as Santa, or whoever he's meant to be. So yeah, influences in abundance there. You've got Alien, Inception, and Thing from Another World. And if you guys can think of any others, let us know in the chat. And I'll catch you all later. Sorry about the glasses. As you know, I've had some surgery, so it's not pretty under here. Okay, see you guys. Bye.
So there you go. Thank you for that, Doug. You know, your service continues even when you
I'm running out soon.
So obviously check out Boomer Doug's channel. You've put out what was the last one? I've still got to watch it, by the way. I'm always honest because I've just been busy. What was
I did one on the Saint, Roger Moore's version of the Saint, which has gone really well. I did another one on alternative Christmas movies, which quite frankly has died in the bum. So please watch that one. I thought it was a good video. And I'm doing one at the moment on the Guns of Navarone, which I'll probably drop on Saturday.
There you go. Check out Boomer Doug. And he always gives us little snippets on ours, just nice little touches of little comparisons. So please, join Boomer Doug and write to us and give us some other versions of comparisons, because Doug's lovely.
Yeah, please do.
He's already teed me up for a nice little anniversary special for my first show on Sunday. Even though he should be recovering, he's helping us out. Really good.
I can't help myself.
Brendan, I think Doug. I think contact has been made with Doug. I think he might be infected with the nucleus of the swarm.
Oh.
That's a worry.
Yes, very dangerous, very dangerous. Now, since we've got Aussies on, I did think it was important that we really indulge in some Aussiness at the moment. And I saw this clip from the old days of ABC and Molly Meldrum talking to Tom Baker. Now, I can't show the clip, but if anybody types in Molly Meldrum, ABC, Tom Baker, I'll say it one more time. Molly Meldrum, Tom Baker, and ABC. I've got bits here, but it was. I know well, I don't know Molly Meldrum as much as you two, but a very younger version here, obviously. But Molly Meldrum, he used to do the pop and stuff, didn't he? He always had the interviews and stuff, didn't he?
Yeah, it was like our version of Pop of the Pops. It was very popular from about the 70s to maybe the 80s. It was must-watch TV on a Sunday night, and he was a bit of an icon, still is really. Yeah, I remember this interview. I think I've got a sneaking feeling he didn't even know who Tom Baker was, and I think Tom, his wild eyes show everything. I don't think Tom knew where he was either. It's a great interview.
Well, I've got clips here to show anybody from anywhere else in the world who didn't know, isn't it? I always find it funny. Tom Baker, I think Tom Baker, as we know, can be a little bit wahi. There's another word for you, but he played it straight for this, didn't he?
Pretty well, but those wild eyes of his give away everything. But he did. It's funny. His personality is quite subdued, but then those eyes are like, whoa. And Molly, just as usual, didn't really know what he was doing.
Yeah, so he says here, ABC, Doctor Who's coming back, and it's on at 6:30 on ABC. We had a chance to interview the Tom Baker. He's an amazing guy. And don't forget tomorrow night, 6:30. And then Doctor Who, good old. And there he is, wild-eyed Tom Baker.
Yeah, look at
it. He's probably going, what is...
raincoat.
Yeah, what is going on, says Tom Baker, when he's watching this. So you've got he's interviewed there. Thank you. Welcome to Countdown on ABC. And you can still see him trying to recalibrate. Now, this is what he says. I've got nearly every word. If it doesn't make quite sense, but like I said, check it out. He asked him a very strange question, considering you travel the universe and you spend 500 years. And then Tom Baker... Yes, sometimes they say Australia is 500 years behind the rest of the world. What is your assessment? And that's when Tom Baker thinks, oh, my God, I would have thought it's longer than that, Matt. I hope not now. You start tomorrow night with your new series, 4 nights a week, he says. There's a bit of a gap there. We've got you. Can let us into the secrets of, the first one, is it a very messy monster, horror fan rock, it's called. Series, and you can tell. I have to say, Molly Meldrum didn't seem to know much at all, like you said.
No, he really didn't. He really didn't. You can tell by the look on Tom's face. He's being very diplomatic, but his face just gives everything away with all the stupid questions he was getting.
Yeah, because he says there seems to be a big interest over here in the program. Are you surprised how big Doctor Who is, not only here but in Britain and everywhere else? And then Tom Baker, well, it's very difficult to know, to believe anything that happens on the other side of the world, isn't it, really? I've never been to Australia before, and to arrive here and be so warmly welcomed by especially young children is very thrilling. I mean, I knew that the program was popular here, but I didn't appreciate it now. I begin to appreciate it more, and of course, to enjoy it now. And then they talked about Superman coming back on the big screen. Do you think there may be a chance that Doctor Who does something similar and all the rest of it? And then they talked about phone boxes because, and then knickers off.
It's off in the company. What the hell? I don't remember that.
He's rather prudish and modest, isn't he? He doesn't want to take his knickers off in public. But that's the joke about the Superman and the phone box.
Yeah.
So Molly Meldrum, I mean, it's as if he's seen 2 seconds of Doctor Who.
Yes, exactly. But that's what makes it so funny.
Yeah. And anybody who's never seen this before, like I said, Tom Baker, ABC, Molly Meldrum. But the interesting thing is Tom Baker doesn't go for the obvious, because Tom Baker could have really taken him apart and thought he
was so restrained, but like I said, his face and those eyes, just you can tell in his brain he's going, oh, what the hell, this guy's an idiot. But he was so diplomatic and so restrained. Honestly, if you haven't seen it, guys, check it out. It's really good viewing. It's about maybe 3 minutes.
Yeah, and look at this question here. I mean, talk about, you've got Tom Baker. He knows that Doctor Who's big in Australia, so he asks a question like, I've often wondered, does Doctor Who wake up in the morning rather confused about times? Because I only have to travel from Sydney to Perth and I get confused about that. I mean, what does Tom Baker do with that? Yes, it's clearly he can only play on a joke and riff it, but
how the hell could you answer that?
I would hate as an actor when he's dressed as the actor and not the Doctor to be asked questions as if he's the Doctor. It's
always bugged me when that happens.
To be fair, he does look like he's dressed sort of Doctor.
Yeah.
And then Tom Baker's so lovely because, he's asked a stupid question about timey-wimey time zones as the Doctor, and he says, yes, I'm in a permanent state of confusion.
Yeah, he handles it beautifully.
Yeah, I mean, you've just got to get him at the right time, don't you? And so, thank you very much, Tom. Goodbye. Well, there you go. That was Doctor Who. I mean, yeah, thank you, Molly.
Yeah, thank you, Molly.
But yeah, he's a fixture in Australian TV, isn't he?
Very much so. Probably not all for the good reasons either, but very much so.
Wasn't he also famous for something about him and Prince Charles, some interview or something?
Yes, that's worth checking out too. He was so nervous. He just kept fluffing up his lines, and then Prince Charles goes, don't you have that thing called an auto cue? And it's priceless. It'll be on YouTube. It's really good.
Brutal.
Very brutal.
Yeah, well, George Rainey, you're onto it. Sometimes it is funny because, I have a growing, when I say a growing respect for Tom Baker, I've got a high respect for Tom Baker, but we know when Tom Baker can be awkward in an interview. And watch this. And Molly Meldrum got away really so, how polite.
He got off lightly. He really did.
Yeah. And, one of those. I just thought, since we're Aussies and this is the Aussie Detox, I thought it'd be nice to just say, hey, let's have a look at Molly Meldrum against two icons.
To be fair though, Doug, I mean, this is before my time, but my remembrance of Molly was that he was kind of wheeled out to talk to all the big stars.
Yeah, he was. It was. My memory of it was he was very much a behind-the-scenes guy, but then they threw him in front of the camera. But his personality came across as bumbling, but he was incredibly bright, and his knowledge of music is unparalleled. And yes, he did meet a lot of the big stars. He was responsible for a lot of the big stars breaking in Australia. In fact, I might be lying here, but I think it's partly down to Molly Meldrum that ABBA, maybe a good thing or a bad thing, became so huge in Australia and then consequently the world. So definitely an icon, but sometimes hard to watch.
Well, George Rainey's advising us here. This is what I mean. When we all kind of have one of those little moments to do a bit of a tidbit on old Doctor Who, he says another good one is Tom Baker on John Singleton's show. He thinks Tom Baker is an idiot, and by the end of the interview, he changes his mind about him.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I can't remember that. That's what I mean.
No.
So thank you for that, George, because I love to have a little nosy at these things and have a study of them, because I feel so toxed up when I see an RTD and Shooty interview. There seems to be so many in certain strange garbs. Isn't it funny that I almost feel as though I want the opposite? I want Shooty to think he's the Doctor and actually just calm down and take the show seriously and stop doing all these funny vanity shoots.
That'd be lovely, wouldn't it?
Whereas Tom Baker actually did try to kind of police himself, and that, what how far we've moved. And on another timey-wimey point, jumping just a little bit from the Molly Meldrum interview, I showed you this earlier, and of course, I'm not going to be reading it very fast, okay? Yeah. But one bit I did look at, and it made me think of that Savage's speech by William Hartnell. And then here in Dot and Bubble, I had forgotten, you know, the famous bit at the end when the Doctor gets very angry and moralistic, right? So let's compare William Hartnell to Shooty. The Doctor says this to the racists: I will submit, I will compromise, I will agree, I will serve, I will bow, I will do anything if you just allow me to save your lives. And there's the Doctor saying, I will fight your injustice. I will take you on. I will not tolerate this. And I have to say, we've lost the Doctor, because how would the Doctor say to racists, I will submit, I will compromise? Compromise. And that's Dot and Bubble, everybody. You go to a Dot and Bubble, it's there. I forgot that element of the script, and I think that's appalling. You need your hero not to compromise.
I think if that, I often think of that scene that went wrong with Dot and Bubble. Imagine if Peter Capaldi was doing that.
Oh God, yes. God, yes.
I think he'd just be like, bye, effity, bye.
Yeah. That would have been good.
Where was William Hartnell in The Savages saying, I will compromise, I will bow, I will submit, I will do anything for you, please, to help me get rid of the technology that oppresses all the savages? Nothing. And sometimes it's TV after all. He's a TV hero, just like in a literary hero. I don't want that nuance that he's a conflicted character and he feels as though he should. That's why Dot and Bubble, written by RTD, who should know better, super fan apparently. How is that the Doctor? And, you know, look at these lines again and then listen to somehow, I will submit, I will compromise, I will agree, I will serve, I will bow. What?
You can't empathize with your main character if there's no humility there.
Exactly.
And the way Hartnell does it, it's not arrogance, it's assertiveness. But there is humility in Hartnell's performance.
Oh, absolutely.
But the writing is absolute. It's protracted murder. It's not exploitation. Now, you know the good old argument in Doctor Who fandom about politics has always been in Doctor Who. Politics this, politics that. You know, you're mourning now. And hold on a minute. When we did Planet of the Daleks last night, it's a famous story, isn't it? Because the Doctor does talk about war, and he does talk about courage, and he does talk about leadership. And I didn't see that as politics. I saw that as talking common sense about don't big up war when a few or many people don't come back. You know, let's see it in the round. And is that politics, or is that just a compassion, insight, wisdom?
Good storytelling.
Yeah, and what I'm seeing here from a 3-year-old science fiction program is somebody who's saying this is out of order, and I will end this. I will end it. No compromise, no bowing and scraping, no nothing. And yes, because it's not real, we want the hyperbole I want, the exaggeration I want is I want more absolutism in my hero. I don't want them buckled. I don't want him crying. There's nothing wrong with crying, but the crying wouldn't help the savages in this, would it? So isn't it fascinating, lads, when we compare? Have you got any other thoughts on, you know, how this program over 61 years has twisted, distorted, changed for better or worse?
I like the fact that you've managed to get Planet of the Daleks into the talk of the show once again.
Yeah, you've done it very seamlessly, Brendan.
He weaves in every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's my detox, and all I need is to do this. There you go.
You should just rename it the Planet of the Daleks Show.
The Dalek Detox Show.
There you go. It'll be on soon, folks, and then you'll see me talking again for 2 hours about it. There you go.
It's funny. I don't mind Planet of the Daleks, but I don't come back to it as much as you do.
Yeah, but I have no respect for your opinion at all, Dan, because you don't like the Paladin story.
It's not. I'd rather read a book.
Yeah, well,
And go for a coup.
before you read a book, you have to read a booklet. So I know I'm trying to get Dan to come onto my next puppet show because
Go on, Dan. I want to see it.
He wants me to just get abused by the puppets.
Yeah.
Oh, who doesn't? Who doesn't want to see that?
The Dan, the puppets have been watching the old shows, and we're coming up to 1 year old on Sunday, and they know you've slagged off the puppets, and they want your life, and they want you next. Your head on the block. The puppet chat show that'll be on just after Christmas, everybody, and we will get Dan on it, and they will take no prisoners. The Muppets will be
I'm looking
soft.
forward to it.
Oh yes.
Look how good it is without the puppets, though.
I'm like the puppet showbiz agent, and I'm just trying to line up. You're like John the Baptist. I'm gonna line up your head on a plate.
John the Baptist. Okay.
This is going to be really.
Yes, I'm
like Ace at I'm afraid of the clowns.
Yeah, I'm scared of the puppets. I won't go on. They terrify me.
Yeah.
But I think Dan should take one for the team, frankly. Just go for it.
Yes, he should. And look, Paul Richards is with me. Planet of the Darks is very enjoyable. Love the ice tunnels. You see.
It's a good story. It's a good story. I like it.
David Harding, good to see you, has reminded us Patrick Troughton has that wonderful speech about how the universe has bred the most terrible evils and that there must be fought. Good point. Another good one. You've got the Hartnell here. You've got Troughton saying that. Well brought into the thing. And then we've got Dot and Bubble. I will bow. I will serve. I will compromise. I will submit. How is that? How is that progressive politics to say when you face a xenophobe or a racist, you will offer that as a bargaining chip?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, RTD, please explain. You know, he doesn't explain anything now. He doesn't explain 73 yards. He won't explain why, the person was screaming and all of it.
That's because he doesn't know.
Yeah, there's no answer.
That's right.
There's nothing noble about that sort of self-flagellation. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. No. It's not noble. It's stupid.
No, yeah, it's almost cowardly. I have to say that because it's not even a bargaining chip. And this is where the shooty doctor or the 15th Doctor comes across, and it's not about the crying, as cowardly, as not a hero, as nothing I want to look up to. Yeah. Because that's where the honey and the babes and all that nonsense comes in. It's the diva doctor instead of the modest doctor, the outsider doctor, the underdog doctor. I just think superfan RTD has kind of forgotten what the essence of it is. Paul Holgate he's on the money now. Colin Baker has that great speech in Trial of a Time Lord.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Yep. And again, did he sound as though he was going to compromise?
No.
It's almost Shakespearean. Daleks,
yeah, wasn't it?
Sidemen, Centaurs.
That great voice that he has.
And of course, I might mention, Dan, that
Planet of the Daleks. You're going to mention that again?
Planet of the Daleks. Here
we go. Because it just so happens in Planet of the Daleks
that it's the greatest Doctor Who ever.
But there's a great speech at the end of that as well.
God.
Yeah.
He does.
And there's a great.
Do you know what? I wasn't going to bring it up, but John Pertwee actually does a brilliant scene, if I remember correctly. Doesn't he think Joe gets killed in it? And I think his acting is brilliant in that.
But that's it. And we do talk about, what would Shooty do? We do an element of that where we do actually say, look, the John Pertwee Doctor wasn't kind of trying to avoid definitely how to cry or anything. No, he's just he was in a Dalek cell and he played the kind of diary recorder of Joe, who he thought had died, and
That's right.
he was morose, he was sad, but he wasn't bashing walls with his fist.
No, it's
He
just
wasn't.
really good restrained acting. You still felt what he was feeling. I thought that was really good.
Oh, look, Paul Holgate, he's wanting brownie points here. Davison has a great emotion speech in Earthshock. He does.
Yes, he did.
Eating
Yes, he
a
did.
And
belt.
just clarifying, Earthshock, that's not in Planet of the Daleks.
But Earthshock built on it because it came. No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait, Thread, help me out here. Come on. Everything comes from Planet of the Daleks. David Harding is telling me of a time before Planet of the Daleks. I don't understand this concept.
Oh, I don't think Power of the Daleks is as good as Planet of the Daleks, though, is it, Brendan?
Nah. You see, I remember the novelization as well of the Planet of the Daleks, but as David Harding, Power of the Daleks, it is a good novelization. It was a story I hoped would get found for years before they animated it.
It's no planet, though. It's no planet.
It isn't. There is no plan. But of course, the Supreme Dalek, the Diva Dalek. And of course, well, I mean,
isn't that the one with the big torch on its eyes?
Yes, torching the Dalek.
It's got the dolphin torch.
Anyway, what about this? There was a little bit of news. Well, is it news? I don't know. Doctor Who star Sylvester McCoy.
Yeah, I think this is a bit of crap, I think it's just a bit of...
I know. Is this just kind of the nonsense? McCoy is getting a little bit mischievous, impish, I would say, suggesting Tales of the TARDIS wasn't just a nostalgic spin-off, but a crafty bit of setup. Russell T Davies wanted to introduce to everybody the Doctors because they may be coming back. So that's why he did it. In the future, he may want to use them. I didn't get that impression at the time. He said this in another podcast.
That's Connor. That's Connor's podcast. 50%,
yeah. Now, good for them for getting it.
50% of Doctor Who podcasts. Planet of the Daleks.
So you think, well, you know, as this got legs, I think all the Doctors came back to life with their individual TARDISes, said Davies, as you know, the gift of the toy maker, and they're all out there traveling around in what I'm calling the Doctorverse. Sylvester McCoy woke up in a drawer in a morgue in San Francisco, and John Pertwee woke up on the floor of the laboratory. We know that quotation from the past. I don't like that memory TARDIS, number one.
Nah.
No, I don't either.
I tolerated it and enjoyed Tales of the TARDIS for what it was.
Yeah.
But when the way they used it in the show really irritated the crap out of me. Like, it's just like, it was kind of super lame the way they did it. And then he's holding it together with string. It was just like, oh.
I struggle sometimes to explain plot. I really do. And he said they only did the Tales of the TARDIS after the Emperor of Death had already been written. So in other words,
that's right. They had the set, so they made use of it, which actually makes it seem a little bit more tacky now, because it's like the Tales of the TARDIS was an afterthought, really, rather than the celebration that they promoted it as.
Well, it's like they thought up the design of the memory TARDIS and said, we just want to use it in the show, because the logical, if they'd played the whole thing seriously, if you were making a recorded copy of the TARDIS, why wouldn't it just be the TARDIS, a shadow TARDIS? Like, it doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Exactly.
And this is what I mean. It's starting to really irritate. I mean, hello.
Starting to,
exactly. I'm lying. I've just had enough.
Let's just tell RTD, go watch Planet of the Daleks. Come on.
I was going to say, thank God for Planet of the Daleks. Jesus.
And as you know, he'll say, well, there was IKEA MFI furniture in the TARDIS console room. What was all that about?
IKEA is universally available. I know, I used to work there. It's available on Mars.
It is problematic in Planet of the Daleks that there was a bed in the console room. I mean, where's the privacy? I think you need an intimacy coordinator. That's what they need.
Oh, you do. Here we go. We're getting the music.
No, we're not.
Come on.
I was waiting for the music.
I know. I just wait. So the memory TARDIS, I just thought, Oh, it's just a con job, an absolute con job. If it was written for Empire of Death, which is it was a con job, just as that spoon was on some distant planet that hadn't been
Can
broken.
someone still explain to me the whole spoon thing? I still don't understand the spoon thing.
And then the spoon goes into the TARDIS, and then it's remembered, and then the whistle that they forgot to edit in, and then and you just think this is hocus pocus. And some Doctor Who fans are hoping that this is all a fantasy 2-season special.
We should just read a book, I reckon. Read a book. That's what we should do.
Yeah, I think we should read a book. I'll go and watch Planet of the Daleks review on Sensory over Christmas.
Or we could read the book of Planet of the Daleks.
Now, Demorpin's helping me out. A memory TARDIS as a concept could be lovely, but this was so indulgent and nonsensical. And watching an old episode of Doctor Who in show was painfully naff.
That was so.
That's a good word, isn't it? Naff.
Yeah.
Naff. I like it.
Yeah. Peter Harrington, my Doctor Who twin, the Doctor's love for the human race is indomitable despite their failings. He knows humanity will find its way, and it's why he travels to know there is better out there, but not to compromise. I mean, the John Pertwee Doctor, not necessarily in that one story, he would be.
What story was that? What story was that?
Began with a P.
Power of the Daleks, that's it.
Wait till you see the parody by the puppets, Dan. Plant of the Daleks. But anyway, so I always said when we've done any John Pertwee stories, though, that I actually sacrilege time. I think the third Doctor is better served when he's in space because he's so imperious then, dealing with the Draconians, etc. He's really on his game in that story that I have been reviewing. Yeah.
Yep.
And
that one.
I know. If I do sadly get something like dementia or Alzheimer's, it'll be Planet of the Daleks that will go last. That'll be one of my last kind of things.
Jeez, they're going to be very confused on the dementia ward with that coming out.
I'll be like, where's LATEP? But anyway, so it was the memory TARDIS that bothered me because I just thought it's a jumble, which actually is a horrible. I don't want to go there really. It's a horrible metaphor for dementia, actually. Seriously, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. Actually, yeah.
But I don't want to make that comparison because it's too cruel, actually. But I didn't, as you said, Dan. I don't understand why it was this shrunken hodgepodge of nonsense.
There was like even when they took the CRT screen with the recording on it, and they cut the back off it and made it into a tablet, and I'm like, it was just burning my brain, going, it's a CRT screen that you've literally chopped in half. It would not work.
Yeah.
No amount of imagination can get me past the fact that what you've done there is impossible.
Now I'm in trouble. Raymond Williams has said, I had forgotten how bad Empire of Death was, and you're bringing back bad memories.
Oh, we're detoxing him. He's toxified.
But as Raymond Williams should know, a good therapy session, the counsellor stirs up that sediment again. Sometimes I know as a teacher that when a kid had been to counselling, sometimes the next few lessons were a little bit on fire. So
very slick there. Got to know that well.
This is for your betterment, Raymond Williams. You will come out of this.
It's for your own good, Raymond. It's for your own good. It's going to hurt us more than it's going to hurt you.
Brendan, if you were the showrunner and I pitched to you, look, I want to bring Sutek back, and it's going to finish with the Doctor dragging him through the time vortex. Actually, that doesn't sound as bad as what they actually did to him.
No, you made it sound better.
Yeah.
What's your point? What's your point, Dan? What's your point?
The execution must be maybe it wasn't IT, maybe it was the execution.
Oh, that death to death brings life was.
Oh, that was bad. Yeah.
I mean, come on. This is like when Superman spun around anti-clockwise or something to make the planet go backwards.
No, I would defend that. I would defend that Superman thing. I'm sorry, but that's another show.
It's like reverse time travel, isn't it?
Pretty
is
much.
That what they call murder in reverse?
Yeah, with William Hartnell apparently.
So, Doug,
So
are you gonna?
the Daleks.
So, Doug, if you are heavily into Hocus Pocus, did you like in the Star Beast when Beep the Meep had
Did you
all
say
of
I'm heavily into Hocus Pocus? I never said I was heavily into Hocus Pocus.
the whole of London was breaking up, and you could see the molten lava coming through the streets, and then suddenly it just all healed again. Are you into that?
Yeah, they
sort
just
of
reversed the film, didn't they? It was very clever. Yeah.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
isn't that's what happened in that shit? I've forgotten what they called.
I think Dan's on painkillers.
Star Beast.
You need a memory. I think you need a memory TARDIS, Dan. That's what you need.
Yeah, except none of it will make sense.
Actually, what you need, Doug, this is good because I think the puppets know he's wobbling, and this is, you know, when the wolves as a pack work on their victim. Yeah, we've got
He's
him
going to
now.
have nightmares tonight. What's going to happen?
His memory's bouncing around. He's starting to wobble.
I'll be able to
I think
bring out
Dan
my
is
memory
history.
TARDIS.
So was that a good detox? Obviously, Raymond Williams is saying no.
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 We did do. I know, shocking. Look, we had a good laugh. That was half the point. We've looked at the savages. As usual, you have to wait. But there we go. There's plenty in the Doctor Who world to be looking at. Like I said, I was waving that at you. I mean, if you really want that sort of thing, I will read it.
No.
But
No.
I think we've upset the chat.
I have probably. I've got them all triggered for the
Upset them.
weekend.
They're all gone now.
Yeah.
They're all like, we're sick of Planet of the Daleks.
On Sunday, our first anniversary, there will be a show at 6 o'clock. I don't know what's in it. But of course, I'll try and get some little highlights and little morsels. And of course, there's plenty of news out there. So thank you, Doug, for coming on and your pain
Won't
relief.
remember any of this, by the way. We'll not remember any of this, but hopefully it was good.
He'll watch it back.
Contact has been made.
Yes. And with Dan, contact has been made by the Who Pets showbiz agent, me. And he said yes, live on air. Yeah,
I heard it.
Yeah. I think that
in
might
the new year, I believe.
I think Peladon might be mentioned. Anyway, thank you for tuning in, everybody. That was the Doctor Who Detox on the 13th of December. Oh my God, where is the year going? Have a good weekend.
Friday the 13th. My God.
See you guys.
See you Sunday.
See ya.
See you soon.